Hello everyone. Today we will be discussing one of the most critical frameworks in maritime safety, the COLREGs, or the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea, with a focus on Rule 19, which deals with navigating in restricted visibility. We will also connect this rule to other essential rules and conclude with relevant Malaysian legislation under the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952. Let's start with a brief introduction on COLREGs. COLREGs, or the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea, were established by the International Maritime Organization to standardize navigation safety worldwide. They function as the highway code of the sea, setting out internationally accepted guidelines for how vessels should behave to avoid collisions. The regulations cover essential situations such as meeting, crossing, and overtaking, giving ships clear right-of-way rules and safe passing distances. They also govern navigation at night through mandatory lights and require the use of standardized shapes to indicate a vessel's status. COLREGs include whistle and bell sound signals for maneuvering, warning, and distress, and provide specific rules for operating in restricted visibility, including reduced speed and proper radar use. Finally, these rules are legally binding on all vessels on the high seas and in most coastal waters, including Malaysia, ensuring safe and predictable interactions for every vessel on the water. COLREGs entered global force on 15 July 1977 under the 1972 Convention, and shortly after, on 1 September 1977, Malaysia brought the rules into force domestically by accepting the convention and aligning its national laws. COLREGs represent the how to avoid aspect of navigation. They provide the rules of the road, sound and light signals, and conduct for vessels in any visibility with the main goal of proactively preventing collisions. On the right, the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952 represents the legal consequences. It gives Malaysia the authority to enforce the rules and manage the aftermath of incidents, including liability, compensation, reporting duties, and investigations. Together, both frameworks form a comprehensive safety system. Essentially, COLREGs focus on avoidance, while the MSO deals with consequences. Their integration makes COLREGs legally enforceable requirements for all vessels in Malaysian waters. Rule 19, which applies when vessels are not in sight of one another and are navigating in or near an area of restricted visibility. Restricted visibility includes conditions like fog, heavy rain, snow, haze, or even sandstorms, anything that limits the lookout's ability to see. Rule 19 is extremely important because statistically, many serious maritime collisions occur in poor visibility, where misjudgment and late action cause catastrophic consequences. Let's go through each part of Rule 19 clearly and meaningfully. Rule 19 does not apply when vessels are in sight of one another. If you can visually see the other vessel, even in rain or haze, you follow the normal steering and sailing rules instead. Rule 19 applies when vessels are not in visual sight. This means the lookout cannot see the other vessel, even though radar or sound signals may detect it. The key point is simple. Visual sight determines whether Rule 19 applies. Rule 19b. In an area near restricted before going into restricted visibility, a vessel shall proceed at a safe speed and have her engines ready for immediate maneuver. Engage manual steering, put a person on the wheel. Post extra lookouts. Turn on navigation lights. Sound fog signal. Commence a systematic plot of any radar targets. Close watertight doors. Rule 19c dictates that every vessel shall have due regard to the prevailing circumstances and conditions of restricted visibility when complying with the rules of Section 1 of this part. This means every vessel shall Keep a proper lookout Rule 5. Proceed at a safe speed Rule 6. Assess the risk of collision Rule 7. Take positive action to avoid collision Rule 8. Follows rule for narrow channels Rule 9. Follows rule for traffic separation schemes Rule 10. Now let's look at Rule 19D, which applies when you only have a radar target. Once you detect a vessel by radar alone, you must immediately assess if a close quarters situation is developing. If it is, as seen on the top right, you must execute an avoidance maneuver in ample time. Now, look at the bottom visualization for how to maneuver. Bottom left, if the target is forward of your beam, do not alter course to port. Bottom right, if the target is abeam or abaft the beam, do not turn towards the target. Turn away to open the distance. Moving on to Rule 19E, this is about reaction time. If you hear a fog signal forward of your beam, or if your radar indicates a collision risk, you have a specific obligation. You must immediately reduce speed to the absolute minimum to maintain steerage. If necessary, stop and take all way of your vessel. This isn't just Rule 19. It aligns perfectly with Rule 6 for safe speed and with Rule 8, action to avoid collision. Remember, distinct from clear weather, we do not use maneuvering signals to indicate course changes here, so no short blasts for turning. One prolonged blast at intervals not exceeding 2 minutes is a power-driven vessel making way. 2 prolonged blasts at intervals not exceeding 2 minutes is a power-driven vessel stopped and not making way. Finally, on the far right, all special status vessels, NUC, ram, fishing, and sailing, sound 1 long followed by 2 short blasts. To conclude, Rule 19 is one of the most critical parts of the COLREGs because restricted visibility conditions present unique dangers. The inability to see another vessel means that radar, sound signals, safe speed, and lookout duties become absolutely essential. Detect early, assess accurately, act decisively, and always prioritize safety. In Malaysia, adherence to these rules is not only good seamanship, but also a legal requirement under the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952. As future maritime professionals, your responsibility is clear. Navigate safely, uphold the regulations, and protect life, property, and the marine environment. Thank you for watching.